What is up, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday. Dan Kasper Show on the air, radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online at sportstalk1051.com. You can stream it there, get the links for the video stream that's up on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter this morning. Otherwise, you got your Google and Alexa home devices, and of course, the Sports Talk app. Hopefully, you're all off. If you're up and at it already this morning, hopefully you're off to a fantastic start. And thanks for making us a part of your morning here on this February 8th. What do we got on the good old game plan here for this morning? Well, in case you didn't stay up late to watch it, just passing it along, but LeBron did break the scoring record last night, NBA scoring record last night. So won't be against the Bucks tomorrow night, but nonetheless, he got it done last night. We're not gonna dive into that or really because you'll hear it on national shows and such. So let the question I put it up early on Twitter, and I put it up early on my Twitter feed at DANKASPER. It's a poll question, if you will, for today. But what do you would be? And I gave you four, and I know we could do a few more, but I'm looking, and this is the few that or the four that I put out there. Of the four career records, that's the thing. Like, I'm not talking like season or anything like that. I'm looking at a few different career records. Of these four individual career records, which one do you think is most likely to be broken or maybe broken first? So the four I put up on Twitter was the NFL receiving record. Jerry Rice has that. The all-time home run record. All-time touchdown passes. Tom Brady has that. NHL all-time points. Wayne Gretzky. Yeah, there's a few more out there. So I guess if you don't have Twitter and you don't have the ability to vote, you can hit me up with a text or Facebook, or give me another one out there as well. I mean, yeah, we can put the DiMaggio, 56 game hitting streak. We can do the Iron Man Cal Ripken, but I'm kind of looking more, trying to compare it to like what LeBron did last night with the career points record. So, if you got a quick minute or so, you can vote again. It's on my Twitter feed at DANKASPER. So we'll keep you updated. I just thought it'd kind of be a little bit of a fun poll question sort of there. Got a few votes coming in so far, but I put it up really early this morning. So if you're just waking up, you probably didn't get a chance to see it there. Okay, so what else do we got on the game plan here for this morning? I want to talk a little bit about the fifth-year option that the Packers will have to decide on Jordan Love, because we now know the official numbers. We now know the official numbers of what it's going to cost for the Packers to tag Jordan Love, and the deadline for that is going to be a week after the draft. So Green Bay will for surely know whether, Aaron's going to be their quarterback in 2023 or not. But I still think it's interesting decision. Now, I think Goody and the Packers already know what they are going to do. But what would you do? So it's going to cost $20.3 million, fully guaranteed, fifth-year option. It's a $20.3 million hit, okay, for a fifth year. Not this coming year. It's going to be his fifth-year option, 2024. I've gone back and forth on this in my head. And like I just said, I think Goody and the Packers already know what they're going to do. But you could go about this a few different routes. You could, let's say Aaron plays 2023. You can still pick up the option. It's not going to affect your hit this year. Then you have secured at least that, okay, you got it covered for 2024. Even if Aaron plays, you got Jordan under contract for 2024. You could decline to pick it up regardless if Aaron plays or maybe he doesn't. Well, let's say if Aaron plays, you can decline to pick it up. And then, you run the risk of Jordan going somewhere else, maybe having a fruitful career somewhere else if he becomes a free agent. Or you can place that franchise tag on him, but it would be higher than a fifth-year option. But you wouldn't have to decide right away. You could do it next offseason. Or, you don't have to pick it up. He plays this year. He plays extremely well. You still do the franchise tag. You pick up the option. I mean, there's a crap ton of different ways we could go about this. But what would you do? Put yourself in the Packers or Goody's shoes. What would you do? Would you pick up that option, secure that fifth year, cover your bases, although it's going to be fairly high of a cap hit, 20.3 for at right now at this point an proven player? Or do you take your chances? Don't pick it up, whether he plays this year or not. If he does play this year and he does well, you can franchise tag it or maybe sign him to a long-term deal. You can go about it different ways. It's interesting when you look at some of these cap hits. So like, quarterback, they got different levels, obviously, but players who were selected to 2 or more Pro Bowls, that fifth year option for a quarterback skyrockets to $32.4 million. Then it goes players selected to 1 Pro Bowl, players who achieve playing time criteria, and then players who do not achieve any criteria. So you're looking at Jordan right there with about a $20.3 million cap hit. The lowest, in case anybody's wondering, is a kicker or punter at 3.7, but running back is less than $2 million above that. Running back is 5.5. That's again a running back who didn't meet any of the criteria at that point. So, but how would you go about it? Aaron yesterday on his buddy Pat McAfee's show. No decision, but maybe getting a little closer because he's going to go on a little isolation. Going to go on a little darkness isolation for up to 4 days. Try to do some, I'm assuming, like some meditating and maybe trying to figure out what his plan is and all that sort of stuff. But maybe we'll know here in a couple weeks there. Who knows? I don't know. But he did say yesterday, and take it for what it's worth. I know some won't believe it and such, but he did say, the Brady retiring factor has no input on what he's going to decide this year, and called it, just kind of ridiculous to even think of, about, like, he wouldn't base his decision on whether he had to share the Hall of Fame stage with anybody else or anything like that. Also said that there was a Twitter report, and I had seen this a couple days ago, but it wasn't from any of the quote unquote big insiders out there. But there was somebody on Twitter saying that Aaron's agency was, kind of already saying that he's going to go to the Raiders, and Rodgers saying he hasn't even talked to his agent since the day after the season started. So, but downplaying again all that stuff yesterday in his appearance with one Patrick McAfee. So we'll hit up that. We got Super Bowl week continuing here too. We'll hit up some hoops talk. We got the Badgers back in action tonight, going up against Penn State. If you're so inclined to still stay in tune to the Badgers, but Marquette last night losing to UConn after the Marquette Golden Eagles just getting in the top 10th ranked team in the country, losing to the 21st ranked UConn Huskies 87-72. Up next for Marquette's going to be Georgetown on Saturday, and then, of course, next Wednesday, a week from today, that big game against Xavier. We'll see where everything kind of stands in the Big East standings at that point, because might have been a game that could have decided the Big East with a few more remaining, but we'll see how it all plays out. But Marquette falling last night to the Yukon Huskies. So we'll talk some college hoops on there. UW Eau Claire, speaking of college, announcing their new head football coach, Rob Erickson, who's Wisconsin native. A lot of WIAC experience is coming over from South Dakota there, but he was with Stevens Point, Platteville, and Whitewater. I think a lot of people liked hearing the Whitewater part, defensive coordinator over there with Whitewater and such. But he is the 18th head coach in program history, and I think for Blue Gold fans out there, probably feeling pretty good that this is a Wisconsin native, so maybe going to be sticking around a little bit longer here. Hopefully that's the goal, but we shall see. But Blue Gold football getting their new head coach announced yesterday, Rob Erickson. Other stuff on the good old docket here this morning. We're going to do a little showdown here, as we usually do. We'll do that in the 8 o'clock hour. Your stock reports, whose stock is up and whose stock is down. Might do a little sports vigilante. We'll see if we can get to that in the 7 o'clock hour and such. And all that other fun stuff that we got planned here for your Wednesday. But let's get things rolling here this morning. So a couple things. Again, we got that question up with LeBron breaking the all-time scoring record last night. What do you think will be the next career-wise record to be broken? If you haven't voted on Twitter, go ahead and do so. If you don't have Twitter, well, you can hit me up with a text or on the Facebook or video stream. But the four I put up there is NFL's receiving record, the all-time home run record, all-time touchdown passing record, or the NHL all-time points record. Kind of looking at a career-wise there. If we wanted to expand it, of course, we would put, like Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak, Cal Ripken's, Iron Man streak. The one thing I was thinking about, like DiMaggio's hitting streak, with the banning of the shift, do you think that would open the door maybe a little bit more of the possibility of that record being broken? Do you think now with the banning of the shift that's something that maybe is a little bit more likely to happen? I don't know. Let's maybe talk about that one there too. And then what do you do with the fifth year option? We threw out a few different ways with Jordan Love with this fifth year option, right? If you were Goody, what would you do? Not what do you think Goody will do, because I think he already knows what he's going to do. But if you yourself was in that general manager chair, how would you go about it? Are you going to cover all your bases and pick up that fifth year option? Or are you going to decline it, see how this year plays out, and then maybe utilize a franchise tag, or maybe you think you can come to a long-term agreement if it gets to that point? What do you think? Let me know. Hit me up with some texts, tweets, Facebook, all that good stuff. Also, we'll throw a little NBA talk, even though the Bucks aren't in it. Still, tomorrow is the trade deadline here, and it's still kind of quiet surrounding the Bucks right now. Now, I know there was some talk about maybe KD moving on, but that doesn't sound like it's going to happen anymore. So, been fairly quiet surrounding the Bucks lately. So, got a little over 24 hours with this thing. We'll keep you posted in case there's any more rumors or reports that pop up. But we kick things off here with our opening drive. We got a couple things we're going to hit up here this morning. So let's get your brain working. All right. What are you thinking? Give me your analysis on that fifth year option Love thing, and then those individual career records. All right, less than 6 hours from now, too, we'll have the seconds trivia question number 2. If you're part of our kind of our sports nerds trivia group out there, send to your email. So if you want to partake in that and showcase your skills, go to sportstalk1051.com and subscribe to it. Just click on that subscribe tab there. It's free. It takes you like a few seconds to put your email and such in there. But go ahead and do that. And then you can partake in our trivia questions. We got one that sends every Wednesday around noon. Answer it correctly. We'll put you up on the leaderboard. And then later on, we're going to do a competition, see who is the kind of like a stump the Schwab sort of thing. So and that'll be live and all that fun stuff. But partake for some prizes, some giveaways, and all that fun stuff. Again, less than 6 hours. It's a Super Bowl related question. I know I can't stop y'all from looking up the answer and cheating and that sort of thing, but have a little fun with it. Have some fun with it. All right, let's get going here. Opening drive. Got a couple things out there. First of all, the poll question, if you will, this morning, kind of threw out there which of these individual career records do you think is most likely to be broken, or at least broken first? The 4 I picked: the NFL's receiving record, the all-time home run record, all-time touchdown passing record, NHL's all-time points. Again, you can vote on Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, hit me up with a quick message. Right now, the NFL's receiving record is your leading vote getter with 63.6%. So, just kind of a quick recap, if you will, where the numbers currently stand. Receiving record, Jerry Rice holds on to that with 22,895. The Larry Fitzgerald is second all time at 17,492. The highest current active player is Julio Jones, who's 16th with 13,629. DeAndre Hopkins would be next at 36 with 11,298 receiving yards. So, but majority of you so far picking the receiving record. Maybe you're kind of thinking a little bit with the way the NFL is being played, right? It's passing league and that sort of thing. And, touchdown, the career touchdown passing record has got the second most votes right now. And that is held by one Thomas Brady, who's got 649. Wasn't that long ago when Favre broke it with 421. I was at that game in Minnesota. I was in college. It's like, hey, 421 breaking, Dan Marino's 420. And the big, it was like a celebration and such. And then, now it's just been absolutely dominated. Tom Brady's got 649. The highest active player right now is Aaron Rodgers, who's in fifth at 475 passing touchdowns. Then you got would be Matthew Stafford at 12 with 333. Russell Wilson's 13th with 308. Trying to see where like maybe a Patrick Mahomes is. Patrick Mahomes is currently tied for 58th with 192. For the let's go with the home run record. I mean, we all know that one. I guess it's maybe a little bit of a caveat because some people will recognize it as Henry Aaron's, some will recognize it as Barry Bonds. So either 762 or 755, depending on which one you want to recognize. Albert Pujols, 703. He's fourth. Babe Ruth is third. The net, if you want to go with, active, Miguel Cabrera is 27th. And it's 507 home runs. Maybe he's kind of scrolled down here a little bit more to, okay, so Mike Trout, for example, is tied for 97th with 350 dingers. And then the points record, this one's not even close. It's Wayne Gretzky, points 2,857. The next highest is Jaromir Jagr, 1,921. Now, the thing is, too, like with hockey, you got guys that are a little bit younger that could play in the NHL, but that's just a ridiculous amount of points there. And I think it was it kind of a little nugget that we put out last week about Wayne Gretzky. If you take away all of his points, because a buddy of mine had said this, yeah, if you take away every goal Gretzky scored, he'd still be the NHL's all-time points leader. I feel like that one, if I were to rank them as like with those four that was not going to be broken anytime soon, or maybe not broken, I might put that one at number one as the least likely to happen. Because that's insane. Goals wise, I mean, Wayne Gretzky's still there. Then you got Alex Ovechkin, who's in second. Gretzky's got 894, and Ovechkin's got 812. I'm trying to see who would be like the next. Okay, Sidney Crosby's got 541. But what do you got? What do you think? You can, again, vote on Twitter. That's where I got the poll. Otherwise, if you don't have Twitter, go ahead and hit me up with a text on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912, or hit me up on Facebook as well. I might vote which one of these most likely to be broken first. I think I might go the passing touchdown. Just because, receiving wise, a lot of that is going to be dependent on longevity. And, Jerry Rice played for a long time too. And receiving wise too, it's going to be dependent on your quarterback, like who's your quarterback with a lot of that. And Rice, Montana and Young, we know that. And then, you look at some of the quarterbacks, we've got some good quarterbacks in the league right now, but you got some shuffling around with some wide receivers and such. And, so I think you have to factor that in. And right now, I think it might be the passing touchdowns. And, Patrick Mahomes, I think he's got a good shot at doing it. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be throwing, over 200 more passing touchdowns in his career to try to catch Brady. I think I'd go with the passing touchdown one as the most likely, or maybe the first one. At least the first one to be broken of those four. I think that's where I'm rolling with. There's so much uncertainty with receivers, and you got to factor in who's your quarterback and longevity and that. I think quarterbacks have a longer shelf life, obviously, now than receivers do. Home run record. Again, Trout, maybe I would have said that a couple years ago, but he's missed some time with some injuries. Could one of these youngsters maybe start to climb up there, with the DH in place? That obviously does help extend players offensively at the plate. But, yeah, I'm going to go passing touchdowns one. But, hey, what do you got? Let me know. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what to do with the fifth-year option for Jordan Love. The numbers have come out. If we're rounding, it's going to be about a 20.3 guaranteed fifth-year option. That's the cap hit, okay? Won't be this year. It'll be next year. Packers have to decide shortly after the draft whether they're going to do that or not. So you could go about it different ways. We threw out a couple of them, right? We threw out a couple different ways you can go about it. You could, and we'll know if Aaron's going to be playing or not by then. If Aaron is still playing for the Packers, do you still pick it up knowing that, okay, we're covering our butts, this is Aaron's last year. We still got a quarterback in place for 2024. If Aaron is traded or retired or just not with Green Bay this year, do you pick it up? Still kind of maybe not knowing what you've got with Jordan Love, but at least you're covered for the next year? Or do you decline it knowing that, okay, And do you decline it? You can go about it a couple different ways. Aaron plays, you decline it, but then you might be in a situation where you don't have a quarterback on your roster in 2024. Or, Aaron doesn't play and, Jordan just started this year, but you still decline the 5th-year option, kind of see what you got. If it looks great, maybe you agree to a contract extension, or you've got that franchise tag. But the franchise tag is also a lot more expensive. You're talking about like top 5. That's how they figure out that number, top 5 of the, salary quarterback salaries and that sort of thing. So, how do you play this? I think Goody knows what they're going to do. I'm fairly confident in that. He kind of already admitted that. I don't think anything has necessarily changed from what he said a couple months ago or a while ago. I think they've got their plan in place. Now, if you were Goody, what would you do, though? If you were the general manager, what would you do? If it were me, since it does not affect this year's cap hit, I think you pick it up. I think you just cover your butt. Even if you pick it up, it doesn't mean you can't trade him if it comes to that point. Aaron says, okay, I'm going to play 2023. You still pick it up. Jordan Love doesn't want to be there, demands to be traded. He doesn't have a whole lot of power, doesn't have a whole lot of say. You still trade it. I think you at least pick it up, cover your butt. And I understand, if you don't want to pick it up, you're just kind of like, okay, we want to make sure that we've got the right guy. Playing a contract year. And let's say that, okay, Jordan's the starter this year. You have that 5th-year option. Let's say Jordan balls out in 2023. Like he just 30-plus touchdown passes, single-digit interceptions or whatever, 4,000-plus yards passing, leads the Packers to the postseason, balls out. You got him under a 5th-year option, so you're ready to go. You don't necessarily have to give him another contract if you don't want to and say, all right, let's see you do it again. You got more control. And really, when you look at it with quarterback cap hits, 20.3 compared to some of these other dudes out there, it's not that bad. Unless you feel like unless your personal feelings are that you feel like Jordan is just a complete bust or he won't pan out or anything like that, well, then maybe you think that's just a skosh too high. I was kind of looking a little bit here at the 2024 cap hit for the Packers. And this would be without Jordan Love on the roster, but it would still, let's assume Aaron Rodgers is playing in 2023, plays for the Packers. Then you go to 2024, you don't have the 5th-year option picked up from Jordan Love. Even with Aaron Rodgers' cap hit of like 40.7 and David Bakhtiari's 33, cap figure, Green Bay actually in 2024, and again, we don't know what the salary cap would be, but they would actually be they got space. You're about 3.3 million, but it would probably be higher because of the rising salary cap. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Even with Rodgers' cap hit on there. But again, that does not include the 5th-year option for Mr. Love on there. So that's what I would do, though. I would pick up the 5th-year option. I think you just got to cover your butts. I think Green Bay may have an idea of what they got with Love. I think they may have an idea, but I don't necessarily think that they 100% know what he's going to be. Like, I just look at the Jalen Hurts example. This is just me, but I look at the Jalen Hurts example. Because from everything that we were, looking or hearing about. If you believe the rumors, if you believe the reports, it was that the Eagles were looking maybe at Deshaun Watson. Maybe they were looking at Russell Wilson. In fact, there was one about Rodgers last year while Jalen Hurts was on the roster. Like we had this, it was kind of being out there that the Eagles were still kind of looking for maybe a different quarterback. There was some skepticism. And now you look at what Hurts did this year, and he's an MVP candidate, and he's going to be in line for a huge contract and such. And I think Jalen Hurts' play pleasantly surprised the Eagles this year. That's why I feel like when it comes to Love, I don't think they 100% know what they've got with the guy. And Goody kind of mentioned that in his postseason presser that he's just got to play. He's got to get out there. He's got to play. They may have an idea, and maybe there's a little bit more optimism. I was reading Albert Breer from Monday Morning Quarterback, and he was kind of talking about, the price tag for Jordan Love's option. And he kind of made a little bit of a note that, I'll just read it from him. But as I see it, they're in a much better spot now, Green Bay, than they were the past 2 years. And that's because where you could sense some concern about Jordan Love's progress a year ago, now there's at least curiosity and even optimism. And it comes at a time when the Packers will have a big decision to make on Love the week after the draft. They'll have to make a call on whether to pick up his fully guaranteed fifth-year option. The thing is, we don't know how he's going to be. We have no idea until he gets out on that field and plays. Quickly, I just so like for 2024 and just kind of curiosity, I traded Aaron Rodgers after, let's say he plays this year, and then 2024, let's say he retire after this year, he retires or whatever. Okay, moved on from him, gave Jordan Love that 20-ish cap hit. Green Bay would actually still be okay in cap space. Actually, it's like negative 466,000, and that's just really, really roughing it, being very generic and general on the whole thing. That's kind of where it's at. So, really, 2024, it's not that bad in cap hit situations. It really isn't compared to some other teams that are in similar positions with Green Bay. And that doesn't factor in like some restructures here and there and that sort of thing. In fact, if you like move on from Bakhtiari after 2023, I don't think they will this year, but the following year, well then I mean you're about $21 million open in cap space. Again, that's very, very generic, very, just basic with everything. So what would you do? Would you pick up that fifth-year option for Mr. Love, or would you kind of maybe roll the dice here a little bit, not pick it up, see how, whether Aaron's playing or not? Then we'll know by then, so you may have the luxury of that. But like right now, or if you want to go about it with a couple different ways, you're like, hey, if Aaron plays this year, no, I don't want to, or yeah, I will, just so I, make sure we have the quarterback for next year. Or if he doesn't play this year, Jordan Love's a starter. You're like, no, let's see how he does, and then if he does well, you franchise tag it or give him a new contract. You can go about it different ways. But for me right now, I think regardless if Aaron plays or not, if Aaron plays for the Packers or not, I still pick up that fifth-year option. You've got 2 years control. That's just me, though. You can tell me what you think. We got to take a quick break. We'll go through some of the responses. We'll get you updated on the poll question. We'll be back after these words. It's now easier to order your favorite coffee from your favorite local coffee shop. That's Cabin Coffee in Altoona. You can now download the Cabin Coffee app and place your order, buy and manage gift cards, and earn rewards all in one spot. So the next time you're craving that Twister Frappe or the White's coffee, had another one just this past week and went with the iced version on that one. Kiddo had a smoothie over there. Or maybe it's the Cabin Club or whatever your favorite menu item is. Download the app and order ahead so you can enjoy your cabin coffee favorites a whole lot quicker. Still majority going right now with the receiving record. So a lot of you out there thinking that Jerry Rice's record is going to be broken, be the first to be broken. So if you want to vote, again, at DANKASPER on Twitter, or shoot me with a quick text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Okay. So the other thing I wanted to, because I was reading Albert Breer's Monday Morning Quarterback, and he had a line in there too about, where was it here? Interestingly enough, this is the same point after the first round pick's third year that Green Bay went from Favre to Rodgers. How much though? I feel like it's a little bit different though, because you had that COVID year and Jordan Love didn't have any preseason. I mean, he wasn't even active for any games. Not that that mattered any. But I mean, he didn't have any preseason and such, and it was so different. It was a completely different offseason. Like, I don't know. I almost feel like that year doesn't almost count. And I know some people were kind of talking about that too when that pick was made. That okay, it's a COVID year. You're kind of protecting yourself maybe a little bit and having another quarterback or kind of having a wash year sort of thing. So I mean, I don't know if I count that year. I mean, Love's case and his camp's going to count it for sure. But I don't know if I necessarily would consider that, 3 years the same between Rodgers and Love when Rodgers sat for 3 years and when Love sat for 3 years. I don't know if I would necessarily call it the same because I just that first year, that COVID year, I almost call it like I don't even know if I would count that. So for me, in my eyes, I guess this is Jordan Love's third year with a full regular off season and preseason and such. Maybe that's just me, but that's kind of how I feel. Whether that has any factor in their decisions or not, I don't know. We'll see. But Aaron's got to make his decision first. That's where it all starts there. And he's going to maybe decide it shortly after he's in 4 nights worth of complete darkness with no sound or no lights in some house. That's apparently what he's got planned and going to do some, I'm assuming, like meditation and self-reflection and try to come to a decision and conclusion and that sort of thing. Hey, more power to him. If that's something that he can do, whatever helps, if it's for mental health and that, I have no problem. Do you, man. Do what you got to do. I couldn't do anything like that. I'd probably last, not counting sleep. I would love to try it, get away from the world. Go up to my deer cabin or something. We'll do it there. Do it at the deer cabin. Get some sleep, catch up on some sleep. But if you don't count the sleep part, I don't know how long I would last. I might go a little bonkers. Because he's not bringing anything. He's not like bringing a book, I'm assuming. He's not bringing his phone. Nothing. How long do you think you could last? If you don't count sleep, pretend maybe you're in your cabin. Nothing. No lights, no sound, nothing. And you got to stay in there. You can't go out and have a little fire or anything like that. You got to stay in there. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know how long I would be able to last. Literally stay in there. Whew. Hey, more power to him, though. If he can do that, and if that's what helps him mentally and all that, no problem. Whatever. Do you, man. Do you? Me? Whew. Hey, I'd like to get off the grid once in a while, but just to completely shelter in a little confined space with no light and no sound, and I can't bring like a book. I can't even go outside to have a little campfire outside the deer camp and such. Yeah, I might last 30 minutes and calling it right there, not counting the sleep portion. But we'll see if he makes a decision after that. All right, keep your picks coming. It's about 65, 70. No, I'll say about 65 saying pick up the option for Jordan Love. That's kind of if I'm kind of going through some of the texts here and just kind of going like, yep, pick it up. We got I mean, there's a few saying don't pick it up, just use the franchise tag as your backup option, but I would say it's about 65% of you saying go ahead and pick up that option. Go ahead and do it. So, but again, let me know. Hit me up with that text or tweet or Facebook. We're going to talk a little hoops coming up next hour. We got the Badgers in action tonight. Trade deadline is tomorrow for the Bucks or for the NBA, but for the Bucks too. Bucks will be taking on the Lakers tomorrow night. They don't have to worry about LeBron breaking the record and such. I already did that last night. So, but we'll talk some hoops coming up in the next hour. Morgan.
Kasper.
Can you go in isolation darkness for 4 hours?
With or without Aaron Rodgers?
Well, you'd be by yourself.
Yes.
No light, no sound. You can't leave the house.
No, not darkness. But I understand the solitude thing. Because, people go into tree stands and stuff. Mm-hmm. My problem would be not bringing a book or something, But I understand, the kind of going in and just kind of finding time alone. But for me, that's not into darkness like Rogers is talking about. That's getting out in the woods. I like to just sit, be out in nature, do that kind of thing.
Yeah, if I can't go out of my little cabin and have a campfire, I might last 30 minutes not counting sleep.
Now, what do you think about him saying this?
I don't know if that's what helps him.
That's his thing, dude. Yeah.
Go for it. More power to him.
Now, you come out of that, and what do you think his answer is going to be? Because I got more people than not say he's jumping and he's going to go to other teams. What do you think?
I mean, I think he's going to end up probably being traded this offseason.
Traded?
Yeah.
Yes, you're going trade, not voluntary. Okay.
Yeah.
Name your team. What do you see him suit up as?
Everybody says the Raiders. I just don't see it.
You don't see the Raiders?
I don't.
Yeah, but they're not California anymore. But I mean,
I don't know. Like if he wants to play, but Green Bay doesn't want him to play, does he really want to go to like New York and deal with that media? Because he plays that so much, like media, this media, like.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, but I think he likes it. Yeah. I think there's part of him that, I mean, like he always says, I don't mind being the villain. Well, you're not the villain. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with vilifying you. It has to do, with character and how you're handling everything around you. I think he actually enjoys picking at that scab and getting into the media games a little bit.
I agree.
So to me, that wouldn't be surprising because I mean, if they're gonna give him the opportunity to go on camera, he's gonna take it, is what I feel like, and then act put out by it once he's there.
So how long do you think you could last in a house, no lights?
No I feel book. Like that happened in college when we didn't pay our bill.
Yeah. Not counting sleep.
See, not counting sleep is a caveat.
Yep.
So basically, you're talking about like low grade meditation, monk retreat, stuff like that. Yeah. I'm okay with nothing for a while. I'm pushing 24, 48 max.
Ooh, okay. You think you can do a couple days worth?
Yeah, because I don't mind. I don't mind the solitude. It's not that.
It's just sitting in silence.
It's just it's like the boredom factor. Because I think of all the things I could be like reading or doing something that I actually enjoy. Why? What are you? You were like what, 4 or 5 hours?
No, 30 minutes.
25 minutes.
30 minutes.
You're not even into the full 60.
No.
But
not counting sleep, I would go nuts.
Yeah, to me,
my anxiety would just like go through the roof.
But the point of it is being that it's supposed to offset anxiety and everything. Because everyone says if you don't think you have time to meditate for 30 minutes, then you should probably do 2 hours. Well, like it's that conundrum.
I think it's also too like I would hear like it's a random house.
Okay.
And that'd freak me out.
Oh, yeah, because you have the whole, like, maybe it's haunted thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, we won't freak you out. We'll give you a quick dive into the Wednesday wild card. You have
10 seconds, man.
Perfect. Oh, this is easy. I just handed you 5 grand. What's the first thing you go out and spend it on?
First thing I go and spend it on, paying off bills.
Sorry, V. You should have said something for your wife, buddy.
No,
Come on.
that is for her. All right, second hour kicking off this morning. What's up, everybody? Appreciate you tuning in. However, wherever you may be tuning in, making us part of your start on this February 8th. Coming up, we'll hit up some hoops chat. Trade deadline tomorrow. Do we have any more rumors, updates, maybe surrounding the Bucks and such out there? We'll hit that up. Bucks will be taking on the Lakers tomorrow night, where they don't have to worry about LeBron breaking a scoring record. But we'll chat some. We got Badgers and Penn State going at it tonight. Marquette falling to UConn last night. We've only got 4 more matchups in the first round of our Showdown Challenge. Only just 4 more, and then we'll move on to the second round. So we'll get to that about 8:20. But today's matchup, we're going to go with 1996 versus 2008. So 96 versus 2008.
Okay.
We do have a couple of 60s yet, but then the remaining ones are going to be 90s and the 2000s. So we'll get that. We only got 4 more. So let's do some sports nuggets of the day, brought to you by Yancey Associates to kick off the second hour. 1896, the Western Conference was formed by representatives of Midwestern universities. The group changed its name to become the Big Ten Conference. 1936, the first NFL draft was held. Anybody could tell me who that player was with a text or a tweet? I'll give you a virtual pat on the back. We'll see if a little trivia question there. Who was the first draft selection in NFL history? 1936. Come on, surveyor. What do you got? 1950, the Associated Press named Jim Thorpe the greatest male athlete for the first half of the 20th century. Baby Didrikson was the female athlete of the first half of the 20th century. How about this? 1984, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar broke Wilt Chamberlain's record of 12,681 field goals. He scored 15,836 field goals before retiring in 1989. We've got Charles Barkley in 96 became the 22nd player in NBA history to reach 20,000 career points. Scotty Bowman in 1997 won his 1,000th NHL regular season game as a coach. We've got the first female ice hockey game in Olympic history was played in 1998. Finland beat Sweden 6-0. And then Mario Lemieux in 2003 became the second fastest NHL player to reach 1,000 career assists. Those are just some of your sports nuggets of the day. Quick update on the poll question that we got out there. Which of these individual career records do you think is the most likely to be broken or broken first? 55.6% of you, that's the leading one out there, saying it's the NFL receiving record, Jerry Rice's receiving record. Second is all-time touchdown passes. The other ones we got up there is NHL all-time points and the all-time home run record. Which one would you vote for, Lucas?
I think the Rice one.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so remind me of the stats on all of those.
So
I mean,
Rice,
outside of the home run, I know what that one is.
So Rice has 22,895 receiving yards. The closest active player is Julio Jones at 13,629. If you want to go a little bit younger, then it's DeAndre Hopkins, who's at 11,298. Second place in receiving yards was Larry Fitzgerald at 17,000, still over 5,000 yards away. Okay. I think it's the touchdown passing because you've got a Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we're seeing receivers. Receivers are so dependent on who your quarterback is going to be, too. Mm-hmm. I mean, not to downplay Jerry Rice, as he did have a Montana and a Young throwing the ball to him. I think it's so dependent on quarterback play. And I just think longevity now, you're not going to – I don't know if we're going to have another Jerry Rice who plays for as long as he did, which was from 1985 to 2004 for crying out loud. You're almost talking, 20 years there?
Yeah.
So I just think longevity, other factors into it. I look at a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who's already, when you're looking at the career passing touchdown list, he's where was he at? He's already, come on, I just had it. But I just think he's got a legit shot at catching Brady right now. The highest active one is Aaron Rodgers at 475. he ain't going to get over 200 more passing touchdowns to catch Tom Brady. Here, Patrick Mahomes already has 192. He's tied for 58th, and that's just a few years into the season. So I feel like it's going to be the touchdown.
Yeah, okay. I meant like I did a 180 on that. Like the touchdown one is the least likely to be broken. The touchdown one, yeah, most.
Yeah. Oh, so you think the receiving one's going to be the least likely?
Yeah, I think so. It's such a gap, even with the offensive nature of the league. And plus, I know it's probably moving even more in that direction. But there's an ebb there and a flow to it, and we had more of a defensive year this year, so that will inhibit it. Plus, you got Mahomes doing shovel passes and those little flip-offs and stuff like that. Those count as passes.
Yeah.
Even if it's essentially a run play, it counts as a pass.
Yeah.
So that's where he's going to get up to that pretty quickly. Also, the home run thing, you could have thought, well, with all the emphasis on home runs, well, I don't know how that's going to be the change in emphasis over the next few years. Like, people are still going to want to hit home runs, but there's going to be more incentive to not always go for a home run.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like going back to the receiving thing there too was like, Calvin Johnson, maybe at one point people thought he was going to, because I mean, he was just racking up the yards, but then, retires and all that sort of stuff. And, I know, was it, like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson? Hey, a couple of good youngsters. But again, I think a lot of it is going to depend on who their quarterbacks are throwing them the football. That sort of thing. That they've got a little bit more of a wild card factor to it than I would say quarterbacks do.
Yeah. So yeah, and the NHL one, what's
all-time points, which I think is the least likely one, because that's Wayne Gretzky. He's got so I went with career points. He's got 2,857. The next closest is Jaromir Jagr at 1,921.
Okay. I think it's probably receiving, in terms of least likely receiving, NHL,
home run,
and then touchdown.
Yeah, if we did goals, I mean, it's a little bit closer because of Ovechkin. Gretzky's got 894, Ovechkin's got 812. But, I mentioned the you take away Wayne Gretzky's goals, he still leads the league in points career-wise. That's just ridiculous. And the thing is with the NHL, I mean, you do have younger players playing right away too. You could have youngsters out there, but I mean, what Wayne Gretzky did. That's why I feel like when we talk about the best of all time or GOATs, I feel like sometimes we forget about Wayne Gretzky because he's so far ahead above everybody else. At least like when you talk about Jordan, LeBron, there's a debate, right? Well, Jordan, LeBron. In football, you can be like Brady. Well, is it Brady, Montana? Maybe throw in Rice in there. You kind of forget about when the GOATs. You kind of forget about like Wayne Gretzky, I think, because he's so far and away above everybody else. Well, like he was so dominant.
He accumulated so many stats and numbers in his earliest years too. I mean, how many times have we done like this date in history, and we talk about like breaking like season records, and it's mid-season and stuff from his first 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the NHL. Those just look up, if anyone's like, how good was he? Look up Wayne Gretzky's stats in the early 80s. And this is right before Edmonton started winning all sorts of Stanley Cups. Then came that whole era. But my gosh, there was just like unfathomable amounts of goal scoring and assists and points in his early days. Oh my gosh. And that's where he accumulated so much. And then he was good for a long time after that as well. But that's how he made a lot of distance from others in the future, people that were not even born yet when he was that young.
Yeah. I kind of did the with the home run record, you can, which one you recognize, if you will, Barry Bonds or Hank Aaron there. But I mean, I would have said maybe a couple years ago Mike Trout, but he's gotten injured and missed time. So how much does that affect it? He's currently tied for 97th with 35 or 350 home runs. Giancarlo Stanton, he ain't going to catch him. He's at 75. I mean, you've got Nelson Cruz ain't going to do it. Miguel Cabrera ain't going to do it. So I don't know, unless one of those other youngsters can kind of make a run at it. I don't know if that person's on this is playing baseball right now.
You got to ponder like the youngest players, and where are we going? Like Julio Rodriguez? Like there's so much career left there. My gosh. But that's the kind of person you got to think of. Maybe they've got the potential. Other than that, I don't know where we're coming from on this.
Yeah, because I mean, at least in baseball, we know if you're a hitter, you can play for a little bit longer.
Mhm.
You know, Barry Bonds played for 22. Hank Aaron played 23. You know, that sort of thing. But I don't know. You know, DH does obviously help, but yeah, you got to look at those younger guys. I mean, Mike Trout is already 30 years old. Yeah. So
I don't see who it is right now who's accumulated enough where you can make a legitimate projection. I don't see who that is right now.
Yeah, you almost need like a Ken Griffey Jr., but a healthy one. You know, a guy that comes in right away and, 18 years old and puts up monster numbers.
Yeah, it's got to be that.
Or even like an Albert Pujols when he first kind of came in too, but maybe didn't go through those low stretches.
Right. Gosh, what if Pujols hadn't?
I know. I mean, you look at some of his stretches, they were just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like his first few seasons in the league, 37, 34, 43, 46, 41, 49, 32, 37, 47, 42, 37, 30. That was his first, 10 seasons of his 10, 11 seasons in his career. At least 30 or more home runs every year. Then 2013, he had 17. Then he went 28, 40, 31, 23, 19, 23. Man.
And he's getting older at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone, it was going to be probably him, which I know you almost wonder if he decided, nah, I don't feel like retiring. I'm just going to keep at it. I wonder if he could have gotten there. Like it may have taken like 4 or 5 years, but maybe he actually would have. At least 750. Well, I mean 715 for sure, but that would have put him behind Aaron. Maybe he gets to Aaron. I don't know about Bonds. That's a heck of a what if.
Yeah, you kind of wonder there, but man, he was so dominant that like 2000, 2011, that stretch, he was just so freaking dominant.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You look at those numbers and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know who that next person's going to be. Now that you think about it, I don't know who that person's going to be.
No,
and yet that's the second most likely record to go.
Yeah, but
say that.
How many people kind of thought Barry Bonds would do it though too?
Right.
Before he got swelled.
And that's the thing. Like, what's the asterisk on this?
Right. But at a certain time there was like, nobody probably would have thought Barry Bonds would hold the home run record.
No. So, yeah, and no one's going to take a Bonds route now. There's so much visibility and so much criticism that comes in for that. I know someone could just be like, screw all of that, but Major League Baseball will take care of that. So, yeah.
Do you think the question I kind of pose though too, like we're talking career, but like maybe individual season records or whatever. Do you think with banning of the shift, could we see a more likely or maybe an increase in chance of catching DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak?
If you're talking about records least likely to be broken, that one had accelerated a lot of late.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that. I think that becomes more of a factor now because by definition, more players are going to be hitting for average, as I guess the saying goes. But no, AKA they're going to be hitting singles, doubles, triples, to more singles and doubles and triples. But you're going to see that because the strategy opens up to get on base that way. Now, maybe analytics figures out that it's still actually better, even with a greater likelihood of getting through. And I guess that's true in the sense of it's not a single, double, or triple, still not a true outcome. So there'll be some analytics types that are going to be pressing their teams, those who are in a position of influence, to say, no, keep going for the home run. But you could have someone like a Luis Arias, someone like that, who is a very good average hitter, a hitting for average hitter, who probably could get on a run, could get into like the Molitor zone, if you will. I could see that happening now. I'm not sure about this year necessarily. Though, I mean, you could make an argument this year would be the year to take advantage of it while teams are still trying to figure out, like, what can we do? What can we not? And someone who's already predisposed to want to hit into the field could be like, all right, cool. I'm just going to keep hitting here until y'all figure out how to do some pseudo shift or whatever. I think it's more than played out. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that, and maybe, and I know you got to factor in, it's you got more pitchers coming in and out of the game and that sort of thing too. But I don't know. I feel like the Cal Ripken one, that ain't gonna be broken.
No, that's
that Iron Man one. I can't see it.
It's too much focus on taking care of yourself, resting yourself. That will not happen.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like maybe Favre's could at a certain point. There's a lot of what ifs in there too. Eli Manning could have broke. Can you think about that? If Eli Manning didn't get benched for that one game, would he have maybe come back to another team? Like, remember, people were like, oh, maybe he'll go to the Jaguars and follow Tom Coughlin there when he was the executive.
Yeah.
I almost feel like if Eli didn't get benched, would he have extended his career just a little bit more to try to break that record?
I don't know. I don't think he would have. He doesn't seem, just as much as one can determine. Again, I like to say, how can you determine what's in someone's psyche? But he's never struck me as the type to want to do something that seems a little frivolous, of the whole just like blatant record chasing. He didn't really strike me as the type to do that. So no, I don't think he would have. He'd been in the ballpark of it, but I think he would have gone when he would have gone. If he would have gone to Tom Coughlin, it would have been to be with Tom Coughlin, and if the record came, great.
Right.
But I don't think that.
Yeah, that wouldn't, because he had 210 consecutive. So no, I mean, Phillip Rivers had 240. I don't know. Favre's at 297. That's just ridiculous right now.
Yeah,
you think about it. Trying to see who's like the active, maybe some of the active ones out there, but I'll have to look that up.
So I think there's some lineman or someone like that.
If you want to do all game, punter Jeff Fiegels is up there. If you want to, punters are people too. 352 games there.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they still played. They still can get injured. So I mean,
quick trivia question: of all active players, we're including kickers and punters. Of the whole list, I should say, who's the highest active player right now?
Right now?
So
give me a clue.
It's a kicker.
Of course. Older kicker I'm going with. Like Justin Tucker would be the easy one. Is it Tucker?
It is not. It is one Mason Crosby.
Oh gosh.
He's got the fourth. He's fourth on this list all-time consecutive games played. Jeff Fiegels, 352. Brett Favre, 299. We got Jim Marshall, 282. Mason Crosby, 258.
Huh.
How about that? Mason, good old Mason Crosby.
Oh, yeah. The gray beard. Okay. I how many more years is he going to be? Sorry, Mike.
No, you're good.
How many more years does he have with the Packers, you think?
I think he'll play for at least one more year.
So do you think he gets another
17?
Wow. Is that another 17?
Yeah, which would put him, would it still keep him at, would he catch Jim Marshall there? You know me in math, so.
Yeah. Marshall's record was
282.
And what was Crosby again?
258. So no, he wouldn't.
No. So he'd have 58, so he'd get to 275. So he'd need to go, he'd either need to do another season with the Packers or go to another team. Do you think is he retiring as a Packer?
I think so. I
figured so too. Like
I mean, he was accurate last year. He was really accurate. I mean, even on those kicks that he kind of left a little short, I mean, they were dead middle. So he was fairly accurate. I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay, kind of had another kicker for the length, like on kickoff and that. But you want to talk about like still clutch situations, I'd still trust Mason Crosby out there. So.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the 49ers with Robbie Gould, for crying out loud.
I'm trying to picture like Denver Bronco kicker Mason Crosby.
He did go to college in Colorado.
Oh gosh, wow!
I thought you knew that. That's that's where he went to college, was Colorado.
I guess that might make sense to be really, really, really. Hey, we could see what Mason Crosby would have done with Sean Payton as his coach.
Yeah.
See how I tied that back in.
I'm just trying to look at some, maybe who's the next. Wow, there isn't on this list, there's not another active player in like the top 20, 25 of all time. Wow. All right. Interesting.
And it's going to be tougher with 17 game seasons and a greater likelihood of injuries, needing rest.
Wow.
That Favre record is looking, it seems doable, but overall, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I don't know either. So, all right, we went a little long. That's okay. We'll take a quick break. Let's talk some hoops. Trade deadline is tomorrow. What's the latest rumors and rumblings out there, maybe surrounding the Bucks? Is there anything out there? We'll tell you coming up next. Sports Talk 105.1 is now your home for the Eau Claire Express podcast, the All Aboard Eau Claire Express podcast, and now the Chip with Steel podcast. You can check them all out at sportstalk1051.com or on your favorite podcasting platforms. First episodes are up and at it for both of those podcasts, so check them on out. So again, at our website or on your favorite podcasting platforms like Apple, Spotify, or maybe Google, Stitcher, all that fun stuff over there. So, and of course, you got the Man Cave podcast up there too. presented by Hy-Vee and Toyson Ford. Hey, before we get to some hoops talk, how long could you last, Lucas, in isolated darkness?
I was pondering that. I don't know. Like I think longer than I think I could, which is funny because
not counting sleep.
Right. I would say I feel like it's a marathon sort of thing. Like once you get in the groove, then you can go a long time. The trick is that first set where your brain is like, but I gotta check. Like, I don't know. I'll put it this way. If I were given a challenge to do 4 days, I think I could do it. But that's because someone tells me to do 4 days. I don't know if I could be like, I'm going to go do 4 days. Why? Like, just arbitrarily so? But if I'm challenged to do it, then I think I could pull it off.
Here's the thing, too. Like, I'm a little surprised this man is doing it because I don't know if anybody remembers this. So this was this last, I think he told it to Part of My Take from Barstool Sports when he was on there. But when he was doing his ayahuasca or whatever the heck that thing is, remember that thing?
Yeah.
He told a story, and this is where I don't know if people, and this is really creepy, but he told a story that, you know, after he did this, you know, he's, and I don't care what, you know, he can do whatever he wants, right? If this helps him mentally and all that, awesome, great. But he said when he was doing like this sort of stuff, he saw something. I don't know if you remember, and I'll just read the quote. He calls it the Hat Man. So I feel like we need to play some creepy music here in the background. But he says he encountered a mysterious character, which he called Hat Man. He says he will sometimes appear in the distance, usually veiled by darkness, holding the corpse of a dead rabbit and sometimes a blade. And Aaron said that he fears staying alone in the locker room as the lights usually flicker and get off one by one. It was behind me, not even breathing hard. I heard its feet hitting the ground in a constant rhythm. I ran to my car, opened the door, slammed it behind me, and locked it as fast as I could. So now you're going to go in a house by yourself and lock yourself in darkness for 4 days, dude.
With Hat Man.
With Hat Man. Because he did say yesterday that, you know, what do you call it? Hallucinations could happen.
Oh, yeah. It's very, very likely to happen in that sort of circumstance.
Dude, you're afraid to go in the locker room by yourself with that, and now you're going to be in a complete darkness? I guess I got to give him more credit because I'd be scared as you know what. I would have the courage for that. No way.
That's genuinely creepy.
Right?
Wow.
That's where I feel like some people kind of forgot about that or maybe didn't even know about that. That story he said.
Oh, like, my gosh.
Can you imagine, like, seeing that actually happen? Like, the lights flickering off and on and then going out and then, like this quote where he says, it was behind me, not even breathing hard. I heard its feet hitting the ground in a constant rhythm. Like, what?
Wow. And this is while he was on the hallucinogenic?
Yeah, well, this obviously was after that because he's talking about being in the locker room. But this started when he was on that. Like, it like opened a door, I guess, is what you can say.
Yeah, that's what happens with hallucinogens.
Yeah,
and that it can potentially permanently alter how you view the world, view society. That doesn't surprise me at all. That maybe this found. I mean, gosh, I hate to do Aaron Rodgers psychoanalysis, but is this part of something that is like a fear of his or something that is deep in his past and has become visceral, something that's chasing him in his life or what?
I don't
know, but that might explain it, because why else is there Hat Man with a dead rabbit and a knife walking behind him in the locker room?
Oh, dude. And then he's going to go by himself in a house for some random house for 4 days, all dark. Hey,
I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Does he end up waking up like all bloodied against the wall?
I don't know,
because he did something to himself while he was hallucinating.
I don't know, man.
And he's not going to. I know he's not going to. Well, I don't think he's going to go on any hallucinogen, any psychedelic while he's in there. But wow, I mean, more power to him. Yeah, like you were saying earlier. Good. Okay. If
If that's what helps him,
yes, do that. That's fine.
Yep.
But
that ain't for me.
No,
that's not for me. But if it's for him, good for him. Go for it. So,
just as long as it doesn't lead to the Aaron Rodgers face on the field in Week 4.
Oh.
Look when some receiver missed a ball, then
not to get completely sidetracked, but I had a theory last week that I want to get your thoughts on. It was the whole, we're going to go back to the Peyton McCarthy thing because you just mentioned that, and I think that's part of it. So, the whole thing, like, why is, Sean Payton got a better, like, PR department than Mike McCarthy or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are they perceived? I've got 2 theories because they were both hired at the same time for their first head coaching jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
One, Sean Payton was more of a name than Mike McCarthy at that point. Sean Payton was a Bill Parcells disciple.
Right.
Came in a little bit more fanfare. That's the easy one. Okay. 2, Aaron Rodgers. Because of what you just said, the facial expressions, the body language, all that stuff we talked about, like analyzing that. Did you ever hear anybody talking about Drew Brees and body language?
Never.
Or, any like, what does he mean by that comment sort of thing?
Nothing.
And I just wonder how much that factored into it too.
It didn't help McCarthy's case, and this also goes back to when Rodgers was, I guess, more likable, maybe more neutral.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, even with some of his reactions, though it seems as though those have become more visceral as time has gone on as well. And I think that kind of coincided with McCarthy decline popularity, for lack of a better term.
Yep.
Yeah, having a sense of like the team is with you helped Peyton.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also helping was the whole New Orleans vibe thing of coming back after Katrina and this was a unit. I mean, even the bounty thing, I mean, there was still this thought of but they're doing it as a team.
Yeah.
You never really sensed that with the Packers. It was more they're a regular NFL team.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was going to be any criticism of a high-profile figure, there wasn't some obvious other dynamic to push back against it.
Mm-hmm.
If McCarthy's in New Orleans, maybe he's leading them on to help the city, and maybe so. But though I don't think he had quite the rah-rah come with me that sense that Peyton has,
right.
I guess. Not that one's better or not, but I think that led to that a little bit more in New Orleans than McCarthy had with the Packers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. You brought that up with the body language thing. So
remind me again, are the Broncos? Let's see, Broncos played. No, the Broncos played the.
No, the Packers play the AFC West this coming year.
But do the Broncos play? Oh, okay, good. So we won't get a McCarthy versus Peyton this year.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, Packers do. Packers play Broncos.
When was the last time? When did the Cowboys Broncos?
Cowboys Broncos, or would it be Cowboys Saints when McCarthy was there?
I'm trying to think of like the next Peyton versus 21, so 2-3. So it won't be till the 2025 season before they play each other. Unless
McCarthy's
it's in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's the point. So.
And we require the Cowboys to actually get to a few games before that. But
and you need Russell Wilson to actually, play well.
That. So yeah. Odds that would you take the bet that McCarthy and Peyton will play each other in the 2025 season?
Their teams will face off each other?
Yeah, because they'll be playing. They'll be in Denver. It'll be Dallas at Denver.
I'll buy that.
They will still be head coach.
Yep.
Like I think Peyton will definitely be the head coach of the Broncos, short of like a burnout situation that no one could predict.
Yeah. Jerry Jones just loves himself some Big Mike right now, so I think he'll last a couple more years. I really do.
I know I'm actually hesitating on this one.
He's said more nice things about McCarthy now than he ever did about Jason Garrett, it seems like.
And he loved him some Jason Garrett.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you already say he wants Mike McCarthy to coach as long as Tom Landry, geez Louise, dude.
I guess the bigger question is, what if Jerry Jones cedes duties or something thing in that time.
Well, as long as they keep paying Dan Quinn, because he's getting pay increases every single year where he drops out of head coaching, jobs, he'll be around for a little bit.
I want Peyton versus McCarthy and McCarthy to win that game.
I mean, they
changed
have
this stupid storyline,
but they have before.
They have, but it's still a thing, and I'd like for it, if only for the historic record, opposed to a future record. That's redundant. For history's sake, to tamp down the notion that Sean Payton is inherently better than Mike McCarthy. Maybe he ultimately is, but there's a lot of it that is inflated because we've decided that Sean Payton is on a level with Vince Lombardi. And as I've said a million times, so drink when I say this, Mike McCarthy is a bubbling piece of jello in the corner, Airplane 2 style. And that the team won every single game in spite of Mike McCarthy. Yes, all those double-digit wins in spite of Mike McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
So just really quick, Mike McCarthy's record against the Saints, he's 2-4. So
see, Sean Payton, clearly the better coach head-to-head.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if they played the Saints with Dennis Allen this year. I really don't know.
What are the suspension years?
Oh, and that too. That could be, yeah. Good point. I didn't even think of that either. So
I mean, we could look up the info, but
yeah,
but even if that wasn't the case, it'd still be like 2-3. And I don't know if did they win that? I don't know.
Yeah. Somebody had asked if this James on the video stream, if it wasn't Aaron Rodgers and this was your best friend who told you about Hat Man, what would your assessment be? Well, my best friend. If it was my best friend. Yeah, I'd believe him that he saw something.
I think it depends on the person.
Well, if it's your best friend,
yeah. If it, and this person is not prone to saying whatever.
Yeah, I know. Like if I'm thinking of my best friend who always made fun of me and gives me a hard time for watching ghost stuff, and he actually said that, yeah, I would believe him in a heartbeat. I
think I would. I'm trying to think of knowing who I know, like. Best friend, also thinking like my wife, kind of my best friend. Also, I'm like my best friend going back to school, and then all that. Yeah, and in all instances, I'd believe them.
Mm-hmm. I'd want somebody to believe me, so that's the other part of it too. So
yeah.
Gosh, I just can't. I keep thinking of what's that movie? You probably never saw it. What is that movie? It's just a really creepy figure in there. Oh, I'm drawing a blank. I'll have to look it up though. But dang it, there's a part in it that when it's gonna bug me. There's like 4 of them now. What is? Okay, never mind. I'll think of it. I'll Google it.
Whatever that one is, I haven't seen it, and I'm sure.
Yeah, I know you haven't seen it,
No.
so it's you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, so how long are we going to be able? How much can we squeeze out from the Hat Man thing for the rest of this season, or this the rest of Aaron Rodgers' career?
Well, nobody's talking about it, so I don't think anybody just kind of,
Oh, then there's a lot of juice to squeeze out of this one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm not.
I blame Hat Man for this season.
Oh, man. There's plenty more Hat Man we're going to run with.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that dude was killing rabbits, apparently.
Oh, my gosh. Hat Man.
Hat Man. I mean, he couldn't come up with a more creative, scary name than Hat Man, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess I don't know what I would have called it either, I guess. But
actually, you know what? Hat Man, for some reason, given the context, actually sounds even creepier. I don't know why, and maybe that's just me, but
I want to know what kind of hat he was wearing. A top hat?
Like baseball cap, fedora.
Top hat,
beanie.
Cowboy hat.
Oh,
Insidious is the movie I was thinking of, by the way.
Oh, yeah, definitely not. L.A. Raiders cap, Ice Cube, circa 1992. What are we talking about here?
I don't know.
St. Vince.
Yeah, we need some more detail. He needs to go to one of those police sketchers and sketch it out.
I will say, though, the way he's describing it, like it is creeping me out too.
Mm-hmm.
This is not one of those like, oh, this sounds kind of no. Actually, I would no. I no. This sounds genuinely disturbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like for real disturbing.
Yeah, I don't know, but
gosh,
weird, right?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right. Tell you what, let's take a break and then we'll do some stock reports. Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's do that. Then maybe we'll hit up some trade deadline talk.
Hatman stock is going up, that's for sure.
Hatman. I want somebody to draw a Hatman from that Aaron description. If they can do it and send it to me, please do so I can get creeped out. Price, quality, customer service. That's the big three I look for when I'm looking to get a big project done in my home. And sometimes it can be a little hard to find all those three in one place. But when it comes to replacing your flooring, one place hits all three of the marks. Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. They hit the pricing mark because they will match or beat the competition if you happen to find a better deal elsewhere. Quality is pretty easy because they have all the best and top-of-the-line flooring options you could ask for. They carry the best brands in carpet, tile, luxury vinyl, and a whole lot more. Customer service, well, I could talk to you about their customer service all day long. It's easily one of the best, most courteous, helpful, and friendly staffs you could work with. They're with you through every step of the process, from finding the floor that fits your budget and what looks and works best in your home or office. Taking on big projects can be a little nervous to think about, but when it comes to replacing your flooring, that nervousness goes away with the help from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Just visit them today at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire and check it out for yourself. All right, it's time to do a little stock reports. Come on. Come on, Hat Man. There we go. You know, we keep joking about this, but you know what's going to happen now tonight? You're going to see Hat Man in your house.
Yeah, probably will.
I mean, I'm just saying that's kind of, you joke about it, and that's what's going to happen.
And I'll hear like
we're screwed.
Some like sound and then yeah,
we're screwed. So that's
great.
I do that to myself. Like that's why whenever I watch like a horror movie, and I love horror movies, I got to turn something on that's funny like for 5 minutes afterwards, then I calm down.
Because otherwise you're thinking about it
like the whole
time.
Like when I was a kid and I used to watch Robert Stack's Unsolved Mysteries, I thought Bigfoot was going to come into my room.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of scary.
I know. But and downtown in like the big city of Medford.
That's not a big city, so the Bigfoot could be roaming.
Literally walking in the house and walking up the steps and boom.
And coming to kill you.
Well, okay, that's a little dramatic there.
Well, I mean, that's the whole element of the fear thing. The Bigfoot has decided to find you. Okay, I know Medford not that big, so it's not like he's got millions of people to choose from. But he chose you.
And I've been having some weird dreams lately. I'll just tell you that right now. So,
which that actually does make me a little less concerned about Hatman, because why would Hatman target me outside of the whole we're mocking Hatman thing? But is Hatman really going to be hanging out in Eau Claire later on tonight?
He's everywhere.
I know. And I do live near the Mount Washington residence, so yeah, which is already pretty well.
Just be careful out there, everybody. Okay?
Yeah.
Just be careful.
We'll lock the doors.
Well, that don't matter to Hatman. He gets in the Packers locker room for crying out loud. So
Hatman and C-Bomb have gotten there.
Yeah.
If that's any indication.
I've gotten in the visitors one. I haven't gotten in the other one. So
wait a sec. So C-Bomb.
Yeah, C-Bomb's off the grid right now. So.
And okay. C-Bomb's off the grid right now. He's been in the Packer locker room. Hatman, kind of by definition, off the grid.
Well, and then
he's been in the Packer locker room.
He wears Crocs, so that could be that flippity flop or whatever sound.
So what we're saying is, C-Bomb, Hatman, have you seen them in the same place, same time?
Probably. That you just don't know it.
Huh.
Because your senses aren't open.
Uh-huh.
So. All right. Whose stock is rising for you?
Hatman, very clearly so. The Viking defense, if only because they're pretty much at the bottom right now, so they don't have much to go for improvement. Like 23rd in the league would be an improvement. Brian Flores is going to help that unit. Now, I'm not sure how much can be improved given the talent, given who's going to be off the team, given the age, but it's better than what they had under Ed Donatel, that's for sure. They will be an improved defense, not to the point of they're going to the Super Bowl, because there's going to be some regression to that team as well. But they will definitely be better because they got Brian Flores. That's for sure. So they're a stock riser, even if it's not a stock riser to the top of the league.
Mm-hmm. Stock riser. I'm going Brooklyn Nets because you guys got rid of Kyrie Irving. So well done.
Yeah,
you moved on. So I don't know what your future is going to be like now, or if you got to go in a little bit of a rebuild, or maybe this improves Katie's chances of staying over long term. I don't know. But you got to move on from Kyrie Irving, so job well done.
Yay. Stock followers actually the Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals, that is. Where are they going to get for coach at this point?
Who are the Colts going to get?
Well, hey, they got good old Jeff Saturday they can go back to. Yeah, that's going to. But the Cardinals, like, you would think there's some potential with the Colts as well, but the Cardinals seem to kind of be whiffing a little bit here.
Well, maybe it's because the rumors and the talk about Kyler Murray is all kind of true.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like,
Did you hear what Terry Bradshaw said, by the way, the other day?
I did not.
He said that Sean Payton, because they worked together for a hot minute this season.
Mm-hmm.
He said that Sean Payton didn't want the Arizona job because of the quarterback, and he also said he didn't want the Denver job because of the quarterback.
Well, then he ended up taking one.
And he ended up taking the one. So yeah.
But maybe that is an indictment on Kyler Murray. I'm not sure, but that's all of these folks, the relatively high profile people that have been turning down these jobs. That's bad. Now, a couple days ago, when Anero from Denver looked like he was on a glide path to Minnesota, and then he took the Panthers defensive coordinator job, I was ready to make the Vikings defensive coordinator job the stock faller position, because it looked like everyone was trying to avoid that. And then Flores came, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that wiped that out. But it kind of by definition, because it looked like Flores was in line to go to Arizona as like their last really good option. Well, now it's the Cardinals. It's funny how that flipped so fast, but that does not seem to be a great place to be at right now. So,
hey, you never know. He could change his mind.
I suppose we've seen that happen before.
Mm-hmm.
We have. That's the thing. But yeah, Cardinals, that their stock was going down, and I think it's going a little further now that they're struggling in the coach department.
My stock down. I might go with if you were hoping the Bucks were going to make a trade by the deadline tomorrow, I think that's going down and down and down.
Did you see the Brian Windhorst article?
I did not.
It's a short one. It's at ESPN Plus, but he's basically making the point that they don't necessarily need to do anything, that this team sure seems to be revving up of late.
And it could have just been they needed to get healthy and get on the court all at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're the hottest team in the NBA right now.
They are. So what do they necessarily need to do? And also their pattern, even though, as Windhorst points out, they made plenty of deadline deals. Their tendency is to go for the 10-day contract to maybe keep that guy around longer.
Maybe check out the buyout market too.
Yep. And I bet that's what the Bucks do this year, because there doesn't seem to be an obvious one you want to get right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they entirely set out the deadline tomorrow.
I feel like, Crowder has been talked about since before the season. Unless Phoenix gets desperate and lowers the price or something, I feel like that move would have probably been done by now.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a buyout one there too.
Wonder if that becomes like a 3-team deal.
That's what apparently they're trying to figure out, because one thing I was reading late last week was the Suns they wanted a forward that was similar to Crowder in return. So they were trying to find a third team to get involved in this thing, because the Bucks were offering Hill, Nora, and some second-round picks. I mean, if you get, Nora and Hill are like barely in the rotation. If you can package those guys and you get a Jay Crowder in return, I'm fine with that.
Like, wow, I would consider that a borderline steal given the circumstances.
Yeah.
There's got to be another team if the Crowder thing's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. All right. 2 hours in, we got one more to go. We're going to do a little showdown again. Your years, 96 and 2008. That should be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back after these news updates. All right, final hour kicking off on this February 8th, Wednesday, February 8th. Appreciate you all tuning in. However, wherever you may be tuning in. Luke, before you go today, remind me, I got to get your Super Bowl picks so we can put it up on the big board in here.
Okay.
The rest of you, if you have not given your Super Bowl picks yet, if you are ready to, hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line with a name, or find me on Twitter, Facebook too. We're keeping tabs right now. The Eagles are the favorite according to our listeners.
Are we doing score or just the team?
You can give me a score, but I'm only keeping track of.
I'll tell you right now, it's the Eagles.
Jeez, now I dropped my marker and I got to go write it up there. So you talk and why? Why are you picking the Eagles?
The offensive line just seems so durable, so solid. I think the Eagle defense will mess up Mahomes just enough. I don't trust that the Chiefs haven't. I mean, they're injured enough. I don't trust that they're going to have enough effective options that the Eagles will be able to winnow down what Mahomes can do. He doesn't throw long this season, but he's made it work. And the thing is, I still don't want to play. If I'm an Eagles fan, I don't want to play Patrick Mahomes under any circumstance. That being said, in this circumstance, between that and also the Eagles offense seems to shift identity as needed based on the game. And yes, I know the Chiefs have an ability to do that as well. Patrick Mahomes is one of the most malleable quarterbacks we've seen based on what he needs to do. But Eagles have won in all sorts of different ways this season. I would not be surprised to see them do something we haven't really seen in a tendency this year, whatever works to win this game. If that means like handing the ball off and having Jalen Hurts run and they have like 120 passing yards and they still win by 10 points would not shock me. So that being said, I'm not like completely confident, but I'm not like, I don't like this pick. No, I like it. I'm picking the Eagles.
All right.
And I think they would cover as well. It just would not.
So at 1.5, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a pretty easy one to go with. But I think the Eagles win. I think they cover.
Okay. So Eagles by far leading the roundup here right now.
Eagles fly. Good. Have you heard that fight song?
I have not. I just really hope a Chiefs fan doesn't put a freaking jersey on the Rocky statue. Just don't do. How many times do we have to learn not to mess with the Rocky statue? I mean, your Vikings did it in the NFC
so
Championship.
Stupid.
You know,
right.
As soon as I saw the 49ers fan do it, I'm like, oh, done. You're done.
I was just like, why are you just don't
mess with fate and don't mess with the Rocky aura.
No.
Just don't do it.
No. Actually, if I'm in Philadelphia, I wouldn't put up a guard around. I'd be like,
I know, I would too.
Somebody bring it. I dare ya.
I know Travis Kelce's told people, don't put a Chiefs jersey. Don't put a Kelce jersey on there. Don't do it. Don't mess with it.
Now, what if it were a Kelce Franken jersey? Half Chiefs, half Eagles.
Well, you're still messing with it, though.
I know, but
I do. I don't know if you caught this during, I think it was the telecast of the championship game. The Eagles coach, Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
Do you know what song apparently he used to jam out to get motivated?
I did not hear that. I had it on mute a lot during the game.
I'm like, oh man, I have to like this guy now. No Easy Way Out.
What?
Yeah.
What?
From Rocky IV.
Are we still allowed to play songs here? Is that gonna screw up the podcast?
But we can. Yeah, if you got it up. I don't have it up.
Oh, believe me. You don't need to convince me to play No Easy Way Out by Robert Tepper.
I think it was it had to have been during the NFC Championship game because they mentioned it, like he said that he was, he always plays like the underdog type of role, chip on his shoulder, Rocky and No Easy Way Out. I'm like, oh no. If anybody doesn't know your Rocky history, Rocky's in his car after he just agreed to fight Drago. He's thinking flashbacks and all that.
Yeah. Imagine you're Nick Sirianni right now.
Oh, I did this in high school. That's why I'm like, oh man, I got to be a Nick Sirianni fan now. It's like son of a gun.
So But you know how Peter King drink always in his Football Morning in America column of late. It's come like a new thing. Like the last 4 years, he goes on a drive with one of the coaches. Did it with Doug Peterson, Sean McVay, etc.
I think he did it with John Gruden one time too.
Yeah. Yep. And this year it's Nick Sirianni. When I need to read that again, or maybe we need to tweet at Peter King and ask, was this song playing in Nick Sirianni's vehicle as they're driving into the Eagles facility?
It should.
I mean, can you imagine? It's like 5:55 in the morning, still dark outside.
Yeah.
Just blasting this. You're driving your way in along the Pennsylvania main line, going, or the Philly main line, or the old line, whatever it is, going from the suburbs down to the link.
Yeah.
Getting ready to get some good vibes on.
Hey, at least he's got good taste in music.
He does. He
does.
Yeah. Fly Eagles Fly, by the way, is like me and like dorky music theme songs. I did not realize Fly Eagles Fly is like such a mainstay in Philly. Like it's like Skull Vikings is at the, I almost said at the Metrodome. It's a thing there too. Mm-hmm. And it is your classic 50, because it was written in the 50s. It's a classic 50s style fight song. Remember that Packers fight song that was kind of a thing? And it's fallen by the way. It's like that. It's Fly, Eagles, Fly. Da, da, and I'm getting it all wrong, but be glad we don't have any Philly people in our life. We've used
no. We got Philly fan Dave.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
We used to have Jason Boyd here in the show. Mm-hmm. Remember back when they went to the Super Bowl last time, a Philadelphia native, Jason Boyd.
We got Philly fan Dave.
I still see Jason Boyd pop up on Facebook every so often. I should ask him if he knows the Fly Eagles Fly lyrics. But so Philly fan Dave, is he the only Eagles fan we know? Because I don't know of any others.
I thought I knew another one, but I thought there was, maybe not.
Do you know of any Chiefs fans?
Yes.
How many?
I know a handful.
Yeah, this seems to be more than you would think. You got
to remember too, our good partners at Hy-Vee, very Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
Heavy over there too.
I know there's a high school classmate of mine who I know is a Chiefs fan. Now this doesn't entirely count because I'm talking about people that are literally live by Kansas City, but one of our sister stations down in Springfield, Missouri, I was talking to, the guy we've had on the show before, Mike the Intern is his name, but he works at a rock station down in Springfield, Missouri. And you think Packer mania is crazy? Based on what I'm hearing out of that area, we got nothing on the Chiefs. I can't believe I'm saying that. But
don't say we. You are not a Packers
we, I
fan.
mean a culture, because I'm a neutral observer.
You are not a neutral observer. If you acknowledge you are a Vikings fan, Lucas, you are not a neutral observer of Packers fandom. How dare you, sir?
I am an observer of Packer fandom. We'll amend to request to advise and extend my remarks.
You need to apologize.
My apologies
to both your Vikings fans and then Packers fans.
I'm not going to apologize to the Viking fans. They'll be like, sure, whatever, you're neutral. But Packer fans, sure. I'm not going to do I'm not going to do the Chris Brown. I'm sorry if you were offended. No, that's
I was offended.
Yeah, see, I'm actually sorry for that.
Yeah,
that's how
neutral.
Because Viking fans actually apologized. But okay, here's something interesting I learned from my convo yesterday, because we were doing like a multi-market. I'm getting very meta here, but it's like multiple radio stations we're talking and whatnot. So I started asking Mike down in Springfield, Missouri. So what's the level of mania right now over this? And he said it's basically it's all the same, and he actually got it, and he's like a lifelong Chiefs fan. He's one of those that okay, here's an interesting dynamic. Tell me if you're observing a variation of this with the Packers. As a lifelong Chiefs fan, and he's probably in his 30s, I think, once they won that one title, that's what you needed. There were so many years the Chiefs were irrelevant that getting that title, but the younger Chiefs fans or the newer Chiefs fans, the ones that kind of jumped on the bandwagon, they're all yeah, but you need to win more. And that title didn't do that much for them. And I thought, is this kind of like the Packer thing? Like those that are younger that have only known Favre, Rodgers, they think like, what's wrong with this team? Whereas the longer Packer fans are probably like, hey, we won our titles. That's good.
Well,
like
it's
bigger picture sort of thing.
It's the debate. It goes back to the debate of entitled or not. Like there's there's the debate of like, are Packers fans entitled? But then there's the other side. It's like, okay, but you had Rodgers and Favre. You should have more than just one apiece. It's that whole debate again.
Which I see that one. It feels like
you got Patrick Mahomes. You should have more than one.
Right.
At least, hey, they've gone to more than one as opposed to Rodgers.
Well, and I realized too, as he was talking about all the Chiefs Super Bowls, not he was, but as he's going into the description, and I realized, around here in the upper Midwest, we haven't had that concentration of Super Bowl appearances. I mean, if we're talking any of the teams in the upper Midwest, so basically the NFC North is what we're talking about, since the mid-'70s Vikings. 3 out of 4
Yeah, I mean,
seasons.
Green Bay had the 2, but you're not talking like 3 out of 4.
Right, where they're like always going there. And with the Chiefs have suddenly like surpassed that. And the Packers themselves haven't had anything like that since the crossover NFL into Super Bowl era, but those were the titles back then. It's been a very long time since we've had something like what the Chiefs and what Chiefs fans are going through right now. Like, can you even ponder?
Or what the Patriots did.
Yeah. Cowboys in the mid-'90s, 49ers at certain points. Can you fathom what that would have been like if the Packers, I know I'm going there, but if they'd won those conference championship games, 3 out of the last 4 years, I think. Going to the...
I don't think we'd be talking about Rodgers or Love.
That's for sure. Unless Rodgers decided to leave on top.
Right.
But then it wouldn't be a controversy. Then it would be a storybook ending. And oh my gosh, I will say, growing up in an area where the Packers dominate, and I don't think in an unhealthy way. It's a extremely passionate fan base. It's strange to see another fan base seemingly even more passionate. I'm like, can you outdo that? And that's the vibe I'm getting from down in Missouri right now. Like, oh my gosh, they are manic for that team right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what's it going to be like if they lose again? Like, what happens? And then there's also there's a separate one, the national debate about Mahomes and is he that good? And we're gonna have to sit. That's the one thing I'm not looking forward to out of the Super Bowl. If the Eagles win, we're gonna have to endure a bunch of is Mahomes overrated, and the debate shows are going to become insufferable.
Oh gosh, I hope they don't go that way. I know some will, but
some definitely will. I mean, some of them are still going to find some way to tie it back to Dak. But it's going to happen, which is, again, that's unfortunate because he's won a title and will have been to 3 in 4 years. That's really good, but it's going to be out there.
Right. Yep. All right. I'll tell you what, we'll take a quick break and then we'll get to showdown here. So quick updates on the poll question that we got up on Twitter. Which of these individual career records do you think is the most likely to be either broken or broken first? It's getting closer between the NFL's receiving record or the all-time touchdown passes record. So it's NFL receiving record 47.6, touchdown pass records at 38.1. Other ones on there, you got the all-time home run record and the NHL all-time points record. Let's take a quick break and we'll do a little showdown as we are starting to wrap up the first round here. We got 96 versus 2008 coming up next. You looking for that perfect gift for your Valentine's this year? Any day, any ideas what you're thinking of getting? Well, for one, jewelry is out of style this year. No need for that. Flowers, they don't last that long. So this year, get something that your Valentine really needs, and that's some new tires for their vehicle from ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. It's a gift that gives in different ways. Not only will you be replacing those old, unsafe tires for your Valentine, but having new tires will also help them improve their gas mileage, which helps them save some money. And speaking of being safe, getting those new tires will improve their traction, which, as we all know here in Wisconsin, is incredibly important with all these snow-covered roads. Or maybe your Valentine is restoring a vehicle that they need to find that hard-to-find used auto part. Bingo, because ASAP Used Auto Parts can help you find that part to complete their restoration project. So I gave you the perfect Valentine's plan. Now it's up to you to execute it. Head on over to ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire and visit their website, asapusedautopartsec.com, to make this Valentine's Day extra special. All right. We're getting ready to complete the first round in our bracket challenge. Again, it's the years of 63 to 2010, who had the best year ever. Movies, music, and sports. Let's start off 96 in the world of sports. All right, we're going to the Super Bowl champions that year. That would be when the Cowboys beat the Steelers. If you want to do the regular season, that would have been the Super Bowl 31 champion Packers, but they won it in 97.
But that was a very good year for the Packers. So
yes.
that's gonna count for something.
It is. So we got that one. We've got Nebraska beat the Florida Gators 62-24 national championship. How about the Cleveland Browns? I love how they phrase it. Deactivate and move to Baltimore to become the Browns.
I've never heard it as deactivating and reactivating.
The Browns are later reactivated in Cleveland in 1999.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that. So, yeah, that was the first year of the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. Yankees won the 96 World Series, defeating the Braves.
Uh-huh. I mean, that was back in like the last year I was rooting for the Yankees because that was back when I hated the Braves. So I was very pro-Yankee at that point. And that shifted around very fast.
Got Kentucky defeating Syracuse in the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
This was when the Bulls beat the Supersonics after a record-breaking 72-10 season.
That's going to count for a lot in this one.
I will mention this, too, because the 96 NBA draft, this draft is considered one of the greatest in NBA history because you had the likes of a Kobe Bryant, Ray Allen, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, tied with 84 in the 03 drafts, with considered as one of the greatest in NBA history. Not a bad one there. That was also the one, because the Bucks originally drafted Steph Marbury, but they traded with the T-Wolves for Ray Allen.
Yep, I remember that whole thing, and then they had the wrong caps, and it was like, oh, we're getting, okay, well, cool.
Yep.
Interesting how that
I got to check out my Kobe rookie cards, see what they're worth right now.
Oh, this was that Masters. The Greg Norman Collapse Masters.
Oh, poor Greggy.
Yeah, in retrospect, it doesn't seem as.
No, I don't even care.
Yeah,
it's like
at the time, oh man, I was very bummed out. Like I was like, no. Of course, also I was 17 at the time, so. But yeah, time has changed that a bit. Minnesota's own Tom Lehman won the Open Championship, and who went pro that year?
Some guy who also became the first golfer to win 3 consecutive U.S. amateur titles. T. Wood, Tiger, T-Dub,
not David Duval.
No, T-Dub.
Just randomly threw that out there. Let's see.
What was his first pro golf tournament? Do you remember?
I do not. Well, you would know.
Milwaukee.
It was Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I thought you would have known that one.
I did not know that. Quote Dana Carvey quoting Johnny Carson. Wow, that's something I should have known. The Avs won the Stanley Cup.
The Greater Milwaukee Open, August 29th, 1996.
Interesting. August 1990. Well, it probably also didn't know that because I was just going to college at that point, so it's probably a little further occupied at that point. But yeah, Avs won the Stanley Cup, swept the Panthers. What else happened? Well, there was the Olympics that year, Summer Olympics that year. That was an interesting Olympics. There were some bad things that happened, obviously. There were some good things. Dream Team 2.
Ooh, yeah.
Women's team dominating that summer. Carrie Strug.
The carry-off?
Yep, that was that summer.
That's an iconic image in all sports.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there was...
I was a big fan of Dream Team 2 because I had some jerseys from Dream Team 2, believe it or not. Because that was during the age of, like, you had to order your jerseys off of a catalog. Because I remember as a kid, I would always get these catalogs, and I would just like, man, I really want this jersey. I really want that jersey. You know, and my first one ended up being a Shaq Orlando Magic one, which was perfect. But then, like, you know, you got clearance ones coming up, right?
Yeah.
So it was the 96 Dream Team 2. I got a Shaq one. They ran out of Penny Hardaways. They ran out of Grant Hills. So I got the Dream Olajuwon.
Nice.
On that. I still have those to this day.
Not a top choice, which is a shame, but it's still, it's a good one to get.
Yeah.
Not bad. Michael Johnson, his gold shoes, running in the Olympic. I still remember him seeing, like, his time when he broke the record. It was like, ah! On the track down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali with the torch lighting.
Oh, yeah.
That's
summer. Iconic too.
Yeah. Yep. There was a lot of
I got a lot. I still have a few, I think, Sports Illustrateds of that 96 Olympics at my house.
Yeah. That was a
I remember that's honestly, I'll be honest, like you know me, I'm not the biggest Olympic watcher. I remember quite a bit watching the 96 Olympics for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, just the summer, I can picture stuff right now in my head.
Yeah, like I still remember too. What's interesting for me is it seemed like it was this is strange for the Olympics being in the United States. It felt like a lesser deal than the prior ones. Now, I don't know if that's because when you're younger, stuff seems to be bigger because, like, it's all you're taking in, and then when you get older, you can start, like, looking at all sorts of other stuff, and there's all sorts of incoming, so you can't necessarily get immersed in that.
Did it also help because it was Atlanta, though, too? Like, it was, local.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So
your country.
Right. It wasn't on tape delay 13 hours later. That for sure helped. But yeah, I very distinctly remember that. Remember the torch relay that was going around? And it came through La Crosse. And I
don't remember that.
The torch came through La Crosse, and my dad and I drove down there because those who remember, Scott Shaw, meteorologist at TV13 back in the 90s, was one of the torch runners. And so we went down to watch that happen, and I remember seeing that go through. I'm trying to remember if I got to actually hold the torch because he would have his own, but there's still to this day hanging in the garage where I grew up, so where I was growing up and where my mom still lives, in the garage there's still a long green banner, like 1996 Atlanta Olympic Games, that I think the TV station got because of part of that, and so he brought it home, and we still have it to this day. That's
awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those never getting rid of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a cool year to watch all of that happen. So 96 is a pretty big heavyweight.
It is. It really is. 2008. So this one was when the the Super Bowl I said I was not gonna watch because I was so pissed off from the NFC Championship game. But I still watched it. Giants beat the Patriots.
That also means that NFC Championship game happened in 2008.
Yeah. But that ended the perfect season for the Patriots, obviously. LSU beat Ohio State to win the BCS National Championship. We got, I guess if you wanted to go through the regular season of the NFL too, we know that summer.
Well, yeah, that happened.
That stuff. Lions became the first team to lose all their regular season games.
As we saw in person.
Yep. Also, 08-2 was when, remember, Tom Brady tore his ACL.
That's right.
In the opener. We had the Matt Castle era begin.
That's right.
We got, what was it? First time in both World Series and postseason history, a contest is suspended during an official game as Game 5 is halted in the 6th inning between Tampa Bay, Philly. Game resumes 2 days later. And the Phillies clinched.
I remember that. It was like a cold, rainy World Series. Yeah.
Yep.
That was a pretty memorable year. Like if you're talking Brewers, Bucks, Packers, Badgers sorts of stuff. I mean, for 96, it really was just the Packers, but that was also a pretty big year for the Packers.
Brewers, oh yeah.
2008.
That was like, we made it. We finally did. And it's like, oh yeah, we lost the first series against the Phillies.
But the way that ended, that Cubs series, I always remember watching that and then watching how the Mets thing ended, and that was a heck of an ending. The CC Sabathia experience, all of that makes for a pretty memorable 2000. I mean, 2008 is probably going to go down as one of the more fun Brewer years of all time because of that whole, like, we're getting over the hump and the way that they got over it.
I totally agree. When was what? Yeah, bottom of the 8th.
Right. So. Which that just like broke a tie.
Yeah, it was 1-1.
Yeah. And then even then that still didn't like lock it in. But
because I remember watching the game too, and they were all watching the Mets game for that final game of the season.
Right, because they still needed the Mets to,
I think it was to lose or to
lose
win.
to the Marlins.
Yeah.
And they did their business, and then as a result, the Brewers made the playoffs. So yeah, that was I still remember that Sunday. That was a memorable ending of the season.
Yep. Speaking still with 08, that was better national championship games too. Kansas and Memphis.
Yeah.
Remember those the year all 4 1 seeds went in it?
And
yeah, it was the ending there. It looked like Memphis was going to win it, then the 3, and then Kansas goes on to win it.
And then and remember, Memphis was not actually in the championship.
That's true.
That doesn't exist. Whatever you saw, no.
The Derrick Rose Memphis Tigers.
Well, that did keep us from having a championship wiped out because of that. We didn't know it at the time, but I think we dodged a bullet on that.
This is one of the more iconic Tiger Woods years too. The 2008 U.S. Open Championship playoff, 18-hole playoff the next day. But remember, Tiger, broken leg, still won it.
Yes. Or Rocco.
Yep, Rocco Mediate.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I remember that one.
It was a heck.
I'll tell you right now, 08 and 96 are pretty. They got some good ones in here, man.
They do.
Beijing Olympics.
Yes. Michael Phelps going nuts. Usain Bolt going nuts. I mean, those are two of the most dominant performances, and we saw them both in the same Olympics in Beijing. Let's see. What else that year? Red Wings won the Stanley Cup. Oh, tennis. That Wimbledon final between Nadal and Federer, the one that went like deep into the evening, and it was the last like fully outdoors, no lights Wimbledon final before they built the roof that has the lights.
Oh, yeah.
And it was dark by the end of that final. It went on forever. That was that may have been the best tennis match I have ever seen. That, oh my gosh, that was good. But yeah, Federer won, Nadal won 2, Djokovic. How long has Novak Djokovic been around? He won the Australian Open that year. Venus won, Serena won. Maria Sharapova actually won a Grand Slam that year.
Damn.
There's a lot going on that year too.
Yeah. So, we might have to come back to sports here.
Yeah.
I'm
leaning 96, but yeah.
I'm going to come back to this one.
To be determined.
Yeah. All right. So do the music part.
All right. So album-wise, 96 albums included the likes of, let's see. I'm just looking to see which one do I want. Fugees broke through with a score. Odelay from Beck. Pinkerton from Weezer. Pretty big that year. In 2008, album-wise, it's kind of falling. You got 808s and Heartbreaks from Kanye. The Carter 3, Lil Wayne was that year. Not as much. Now, song-wise, back to 1996. And it's a little weird because this was this period where, like, if you look at the Billboard chart, it doesn't fully cover everything because they had that policy back then where you had to have, like, a single you could buy for to count on the charts, but record labels were gaming the system to get people to buy the full albums. So there were a lot of big songs that never charted as a result of that policy, and it got changed by 1999. But for example, I'll Be There For You by the Rembrandts. Remember that dominated summer of 95. didn't chart until it was like a B-side many months later because of that policy. So if you look at the records, never existed. It's kind of like the NCAA thing. It's like altered history. But among the bigger songs of 1996, Macarena.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other big ones from that year, Always Be My Baby from Mariah Carey. See You at the Crossroads. You don't belong
gosh,
there.
yeah.
That was big that year. I Love You Always Forever, Donna Lewis. Come on, ride the trade and ride it. Woo, woo. Ironic was a big hit from Alanis Morissette that year. Let's see. Eric Clapton's Change the World came out that year. What else? What else was big that year? No Doubt, Don't Speak, Spiderwebs, Just a Girl. This was No Doubt year, basically. Should I skip over I Believe I Can Fly?
No, you should not.
I mean,
it is a part of the soundtrack.
Yeah,
it's going to be coming up in the movies. So
that's true. So those are some of the bigger ones from '96. Bigger songs in 2008 include the likes of I Kissed a Girl, Viva La Vida, Chris Brown's songs, Sarah Bareilles' Love Song. I know I'm not making a good case for this year. Gosh, like Lady Gaga broke that year. At the very end of the year was Just Dance. So that kind of got into the whole 2009, 2010, 2011 hyper EDM pop sort of thing that we had going, but we weren't quite there yet. Pocket Full of Sunshine, Natasha Bedingfield. I got a pocket full of sunshine.
Yeah.
Lollipop, Lil Wayne. Lollipop. Bleeding Love, Leona Lewis. Low from Flo Rida came out the end of 2007, but it was like all around in 2008. So
got it.
I'm going to take 1996 for music, for sure. I mean, there's a lot that I look through and I'm like, oh, that was a hit. That was a hit. That was a hit. Jason Mraz, I'm Yours, stuff like that. So, all right.
Well, movies are going to be kind of interesting here too. We'll start with 96. You had Tin Cup. I think is one of my favorite sports movies of all time. Easily one of my favorite golf movies of all time. There with Kevin Costner. By the way, Kevin Costner, there's some talk that he's going to like screw up this whole Yellowstone franchise now. Like he wants to leave it.
Oh, great.
Yeah, but now they're talking about maybe Matthew McConaughey coming on board. So,
gosh, wow.
So it's like, holy moly here. What's going on here?
Okay.
Anyways, some other 96 movies. You had, remember Jack with Robin Williams? Jennifer Lopez in there. You had Swingers, Vince Vaughn. And a lot of people quote that one. Cable Guy, 101 Dalmatians. Not the cartoon one. The one with Glenn Close and Jeff Daniels. You had The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the cartoon one. You had Space Jam.
Best movie ever.
That's what's going to make this difficult between 96 and 08 because, yeah, we'll get back to that. That Thing You Do, remember that thing was like on TNT and TBS all the time as a kid with Tom Hanks and that. The Oneaters.
Yeah, that
the Wonders, I know, but
that song from that.
do that thing you do.
Yeah. Sling Blade.
Oh yeah. Nutty Professor, Striptease, Kingpin, great bowling movie. Got The English Patient.
Yes.
Twister.
Cage. Oh gosh, Twister.
I saw that at a drive-in theater. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I told that story before. The Rock. If you're into Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage.
Mars Attacks.
Yep.
Woo! Yes. Love that one.
Happy Gilmore. Year of the golf movie, apparently. Mission Impossible. Jerry Maguire. You got Independence Day.
Fargo.
Yep. Romeo and Juliet. Scream. And Matilda.
Train Spotting.
Yeah.
Ooh,
so,
boy.
I mean, not really top heavy, but a lot of quality ones.
There's a lot. Yeah. All right.
2008. Dark Knight. Let's just start there. Dark Knight. Oh, the Twilight series began. Iron Man also was on there. I know I'm in the minority in this, but I think this movie is hilarious. Tropic Thunder.
Okay.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall's on there. You got, I guess if you're into it, Mamma Mia.
Yeah,
this was
Wally,
also,
was that
yep, Step Brothers. Quantum of Solace. Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Taken.
Oh, yeah. That was I remember college watching it was Taken, Dark Knight, and Step Brothers were the top 3 in my
Have you
college years.
used the skills quote?
Oh,
yeah. Okay. So
numerous
right.
times.
That's the thing. Okay.
Slumdog Millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Wrestler. I was like Mickey Rourke's like comeback. The awful Incredible Hulk version. No, this was the better one. Never mind. This was the good one, I think, with Edward Norton.
Mm-hmm.
Gran Torino. You want to talk about quotes and awesome movies? Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood.
Yep.
Revolutionary Road is also on there.
The Hurt Locker.
Yep. Anything else I kind of want to hit up? Nothing. Hancock. If you're, that was okay with Will Smith. Valkyrie. That was the Tom Cruise and the Nazi movie. So this is a good one though too. These are good ones on here.
Yeah.
But Dark Knight is so freaking awesome.
The 2008 Rambo?
Yeah, that's
Are we just pretending that didn't exist?
Yeah, that's not the original. So
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, we're pretending. That's like Rocky Balboa. We just move on.
Well, because the other one was technically First Blood anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Where are you leaning? You're more the movie person.
Dark Knight is just a class. I love Space Jam, okay, but I'm going 2008. Dark Knight at the top there. I love the depth of 96, but 2008's got some decent depth, but it's Dark Knight, man, with Heath Ledger, with that classic performance. I got to go 08.
It's really good. I see. I was going to choose 96, but that's because of the depth.
Mm-hmm.
But
you have, I believe, one of the most iconic performances of all time with Heath Ledger. You got to go with 08, with Dark Knight there.
Oh, boy.
It was so... And then, I mean, I wasn't a fan of it, but you got to talk, the Twilight series was huge.
I mean, it was.
Yes. Iron Man kind of started off the whole Marvel thing, with everything on there too. So,
oh boy. So let's see. So 90. What do you think musically? Because you didn't.
I would have gone 96.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have gone 96.
We both agree on 96 for that. You said 08 in sports.
I said I have to come back.
To
sports
because you're very much 08. We're a split decision on that, but you feel more passionate about 08 winning movies than be 96 movies.
See, 08 was very emotional year for me in sports when you factor in what happened with the Packers in the NFC Championship. And then you got the Brewers there. But I think overall, I have to go 96 in sports.
So I think 1996 actually advances.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
This was a tough one.
It was. I agree.
I will now. If we get a sudden wave of texts, and by that I don't mean Surveyor Sam texting us 10 times in a row, that all say 2008, would that be enough to switch this one?
No.
I feel like it could teeter back the other way.
I don't fold under public pressure. I'm already marking it on there. 96 moves on.
All right, there we go.
Yeah. I just look at 96. I don't know. The Olympics to me really stand out as a kid, with Atlanta there. And, that was Jordan's first championship back. I just feel like there was a little bit more there. 08 is more personal for me because of the, like I said, emotionally, because of the Brewers kind of like comeback, back to relevance. 08. Great moments there. I mean, Ryan Braun has probably got the most clutch home run hits in Brewers history from that season, for crying out loud.
Yes.
We didn't even talk about the walk-off grand slam he had at the end of September and that. So, yeah, that one to me is just a little bit more like emotionally. And then the summer of 08, for crying out loud. I mean, the waves of emotions with Favre and that.
Yes.
But I got to go overall with 96. I got to go with that. So.
All right, there we go.
You were leaning towards 96 too.
I was leaning towards 96, and again, I got to kind of feel. I mean, I experienced both, so there's not as much like a strong nostalgia push for either one. But yeah, I'll go 96. There seems to be more, like in a. It's even tough with a national sense of like what were like the biggest seminal moments, but I think 96 tops out barely though.
Yeah, it's barely.
This is a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
A good one.
All right, we got to take our final break here, and then we'll wrap up shop, cover the bases, and all that good stuff. Badgers taking on Penn State tonight. Tell you where that line is at after these quick words. Tonight, 7:30, Badgers taking on Penn State. Badgers 13-9, Penn State 14-9. Penn State favored by 4 in this one. In fact, the matchup predictor on ESPN heavily favoring Penn State in this too. 71.3%. Both Penn State and Wisconsin have the same conference records at 5-7. So, got to win some games here, Wisconsin, if you want to get into that Big Ten, or in the national tournament conversation. You're one of the first 4 out, so get it going. Got to win these games. Time's running out. Get her done.
It's getting late early.
We got no game tonight for the Bucks. They'll be going up against the Lakers tomorrow, and they don't have to worry about LeBron breaking the scoring record against them. He did it last night. Now you know what's going to happen. Who's next? Who's going to be the next one to do it? I don't know if there's going to be, because LeBron's still playing. He's going to add more, probably for a couple more years at least.
Giannis, you think?
I don't know because, okay, does Giannis pass Kareem though?
Interesting question.
Because where I'm going with this is the 3-point shot.
Yeah, he's got that advantage. So, is there an asterisk on LeBron?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I think he can. You know what? I'll say yes. Giannis can get to Kareem and maybe to LeBron. It's just LeBron. I don't know how much longer he's going to play. I think LeBron might have several more seasons in him.
Yeah.
But I think he could. I think Giannis can get to Kareem. Funny that there will be somewhat of a Bucks tie, at least in 2 of the 3 potentially.
So let me see if I could find where Giannis is. I know I did this a couple months ago. Let's see if I can find where Giannis is on this list currently. Where is he? Come on, Giannis, pop up. Did I just see it? I thought I just saw it. Let me do if I can. Oh, I don't know where it's at right now. I thought he was like within the top 100 or something like that. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll figure it out later when it's too late and that sort of thing. So, okay. Oh no, I'm just looking at weird names. Okay, here's Giannis. He's really? Okay, he's 123rd. He's got 10,612. No. He's got 15,706.
Okay.
15,706.
Been a decade in the league, though early on there wasn't that much.
LeBron, obviously the new guy with 38,390.
So if he did the same for the next 10 years and basically is around as long as LeBron has been around right now, Giannis would be up to 30.
Which would put him in the top 10 right behind Wilt. So it's Wilt's 7th at 31,000, Shaq's 8th, 28,596. Of
course, Giannis is accelerating as time goes along. If he keeps having 50-point games, I mean, it's a possibility. He's not going to have 50-point games all the time. What's interesting about this is that LeBron got some of his scoring when he was like the only guy on the team.
Yeah.
Basically his Cleveland career, and to an extent his Lakers career, has been just that. Giannis has been getting a lot of points when he had a good team around him. Usually that's a bad sign when one guy's always, like Kobe Bryant was getting like 60, 70 a game for a sucky Lakers team in the mid-2000s. That's not the case with Giannis. So that throws this off. Like I'm not going to presume that, Giannis needs to play on some bad teams. Giannis is a unicorn. We've said that before, and I think that really applies here. So maybe he can pull that off. But I still think Kareem is the one that's within reach. I don't know that LeBron's going to be within reach because he keeps making these scoring efforts, and he's got a good number of years left, I still think.
I was just trying to do some math here quick. Okay. Because I was looking at like games played and that sort of thing. Oh man, Jordan. So Jordan is 5th in all-time scoring, and he's easily got the fewest games played with this whole thing. He's got 32,292 in only 1,072 games. for perspective, LeBron has played 1,410.
Hmm.
Kobe has played 1,346. He is 4th on this list.
Okay.
So
interesting.
I was trying to do some basic math here, seeing if like Kobe, if Kobe, I was just trying to figure out some math here. If he played the same amount of games as like LeBron and he averaged 25 a game, could he catch him? The average would have put him at only 35,000. So interesting. Karl Malone, by the way, is 3rd, if anybody was wondering. Another low post, all twos kind of guy.
What's his number?
Carl, the mailman, he is at 36,928.
Okay.
Played in 1,476 games, which I still think, everybody's talking about like Kareem played in college and that too. But the thing is, he also played in over 100 plus more games than LeBron too. Like he played in 1,560 games in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron 1,410. So even though Kareem played in college and then, the 3-point line only made one 3-pointer, he still played in like 150 games more than LeBron too.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
That's a lot.
Longevity.
Well, yeah, essentially, 68 to 88 or 89.
69 he was drafted. So
69 to
20 years he played.
Yeah.
Man. Still doing it at a high level, though.
And without a 3-point shot. Now, again, I don't know how many threes Kareem would have made because of the type of player he was, but still.
Right. Interesting. All right. DP and Dan are up next. Have yourself a good Wednesday. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, just past 6. Talk to you then.